Hello, everyone, and welcome to another edition of Training Tuesday. And so this week we are going to focus on resources for family and consumer science teachers. So when we think of agriculture, and we often think of food and where that food comes from, and there is a very, very strong tie between our production agriculture and the processing and then getting that food to the table. And so our partners with Family Consumer Science are critical partners in ag literacy as they work with students, helping them understand not only food preparation, but also the nutrition and science behind that food. And we are seeing more and more departments that are going into professional culinary classes. They're working closely with their agriculture education departments and helping the students again understand where that food is grown, produced, or raised, and then what it takes to get it through the preparation for meals or taking home or farmers markets and so forth. So we're going to look at a number of resources today that those teachers can take advantage of, and some of the things our commodity partners are doing, grants that are available, and other offerings. So I'm going to share my screen as usual, and we are going to take a look first at our Wisconsin Ag in the Classroom programs website. Again, this is the helpful part for you in helping understand how food and things are grown and raised. So I encourage you to take a look at the lessons and resources that we have. We have developed a number of new lessons and have been adding the monthly themes. We had the new Cranberry STEAM project, learning project that they did up in Wood County. And so I encourage our family consumer science teachers to take advantage of that. Also of note, take advantage of our matching grants. Those are due on March 1st, where you can apply for up to $500, providing you have some type of match. That might be your department budget. It might be a student club or a sponsor in your community or your, again, a department budget that you can utilize. We also list links for other grants on this page. So CHS also does classroom grants. The American Farm Bureau Foundation for Agriculture has done different types of teacher grants as well. The other thing on our website that I encourage you to take advantage of is when we do our bus tours. So next year we are looking at going to Greene County on July 13th and 14th, providing we can work around the COVID restrictions and some other things, but this is where you get an opportunity to go to farms, to agribusinesses, to different processors to learn about food and where it's grown, how it's processed and transported, and finally getting it to the table. So I encourage you to take advantage of that and any of our other trainings that we have here at Wisconsin Ag in the Classroom. On our national level, they have really done a lot to reach out to our family and consumer science teachers. When you go to agclassroom.org, you'll see that there's a teacher center there. And when you click on the teacher center, if you go to the very bottom, it has different themes for learning. And this is where those different themes are divided up into 3 different grade categories. There is a whole section for family and consumer science teachers. So they have 40 lesson plans for you to take advantage of. And so when you open up the lesson plans, they are all kind of organized the same way. As long as we're at the top of the page here, I'll show you where you can set up a My Binder. And this is where you can be saving those lessons to a binder on our curriculum matrix. You can also print them. You can print to a PDF. You can print them out on a computer and so forth, but that's something that you can take advantage of. So it'll tell you the grade level, the purpose, how long it takes, materials that are needed. They have a lot of links within their lessons, so it'll give you links to maps or charts or documents that you need. Their interest approach is kind of your starter for class, so something fun that'll get the kids kind of into the lesson plan itself. It'll go through procedures. It'll have enriching activities where the sources are for this lesson, a number of companion resources, the author of it, and then they have correlated the lessons to 3 different groups of standards: ag literacy, ag education content standards, and then you'll see here where they have the career and technical education ones with the food products pathway, and then Common Core. So that is how our lesson plans are organized. As you go through the family, that search for that family and consumer science, you'll see that there's a lot of different ones. Here's a bread dough challenge, a high school level one, again, 2 1-hour sessions, again, those same parts that are on there. When you scroll down, if there are companion lessons and so forth, it will have those, but the National Ag in the Classroom Matrix is a great place for that. Some other things on the website, they do have e-learning now during COVID and so forth. These are divided up into different grade levels. So if we look at 12th grade, you may see as well things that would fit into what your curriculum and your lessons are. So if you're looking at GMOs or other a source search where you're learning how to look at where information and so forth comes from, they have for all different grade levels. So depending on what you're doing, you'll find some fun things that you can do. So I encourage you to take a look at that. Also under our Teacher Center are facts about different states. We have ag literacy outcomes. We also have a store. And so if you are looking at doing some different, projects and so forth, and you need some supplies. For example, the Get Popping one is how does popcorn pop? So if you want to look at the science behind popcorn and how that process goes through, you can get a whole kit on how that all works. So some pretty cool things on our website as well. We also have, when we go to the Student Center, a number of different resources that you can check out and just see if there's any that will fit into your school's curriculum. We also are very, very fortunate in Wisconsin to have a number of our commodity groups and so forth that are very helpful in helping to supply information about agriculture. And one very valuable partner is our Dairy Farmers of Wisconsin. And when you go to their website, you will find they have a wealth of information there. And if you go to the youth and schools, you can see the different categories that they have. So Fuel Up to Play is designed to get kids out and exercising. So you can check that out and see if that might be a program that your school would like to participate in. They have educational programs for, about dairy for your schools. We're just trying to open that up here. Different teacher resources about for the different grade levels, some fun things you can do with those younger kids. They work very closely with our Alice and Dairyland program as well. So you can see some of the lessons that they're working with Alice on, and then our middle school and then high school ones. They have a cheese boot camp, which might be kind of fun to tie into your curriculum in your school. So I encourage you to take a look at that. When we look at the nutrition resources, they partner with the National Dairy Council. They have the Choose MyPlate, Team Nutrition, Academy of Nutrition and Dietetics. They tie in with the School Nutrition Association. Lots of wonderful resources for you on the nutrition of dairy products. So I encourage you to check that out as well. When we look at dairy in the schools, they have educational grants that you can apply for. These will be obviously updated as the new grant cycle opens up. Resources on how to develop good healthy habits and making sure that students are getting enough calcium. They also have some things especially tied to chocolate milk that tie into athletic training. So we encourage you to take a look at that. And then the dairy education we had looked at before. So those different resources that teachers can take advantage of. We also have from the American Farm Bureau, I should have done this before we started on the Wisconsin commodity ones. With the American Farm Bureau, they have different resources that are available. If you look at their Learn About Beef, this ties into a whole series of different resources about beef and nutrition. There's recipes, there's where you can find the different cuts of meat and so forth. So I encourage you to take advantage of that. Also on the American Farm Bureau Foundation for Agriculture's website, they have the resource grants, which were classroom grants. They have the Purple Plow Challenge. Sometimes Sometimes those are food and nutrition related, and there's just a lot of different resources. Questions about agriculture, this is where your students can ask a farmer questions, and then they will reply to them. So there's some ones that have been already answered, and then things that maybe your students have questions on. So I encourage you to take a look at that as well. They also had the Food and Ag Resource Guide, and oops, that has moved, and now they have the new Ag Lit catalog. I didn't realize they had taken it off completely. So you can look at different, topics if you're, let's say, a high school teacher, and then it'll help you to find the different resources that are available. And you can go through and find a food. They have a farm to food truck challenge that Purple Plow Challenge had done, Cattle Ranch ones. So lots of resources there. Going back to some of our Wisconsin commodity groups, we have the Wisconsin Beef Council. When we go to their website, there's a nutrition tab and a cooking tab and recipes that may be very, very helpful for you to, to share and to do with your students. If you're teaching virtually, you can look for some that might be easier ones for your students to do at home. Under the nutrition part is where you can get some different ties to beef nutrients and heart healthy things, the protein in beef, beef for all ages, commonly asked questions. They also have Team Beef. So if you are interested in getting some physical activity along with that, you can be part of Team Beef. If you go down to the bottom of the website on their homepage, though, you'll see they have the beef in the classroom. And they also have classroom grants. So if you need to buy some beef product to bring into your classroom, they have a grant program that helped to offset that, reimbursing schools between $100 and $300. So they've got a few changes with that due to COVID and so forth, but you can take a look at how to take advantage of that. Also under the grant or under the classroom program, it'll also give you some ties into how beef are raised and some background information on that. So I encourage you to do that. They also are connected with Beef University, which helps you learn more about beef and nutrition and different beef cuts and so forth. So again, for your foods classes, your culinary classes, that could be a great thing. I also encourage you to get in touch with the Wisconsin Beef Council. They've got some great staff members who can also assist you, and you may see some of them on local news programs doing some recipes, but they are a wonderful resource as well. When we look at another one of our commodities in the state, we have the Wisconsin Pork Association. They also have a number of different tabs. They have a youth tab that goes through some of their different programs that are more youth exhibitors and so on. But if you go to the educators tab, they have a virtual field trip. And so in these days when it's kind of hard to go on a trip to farms and agribusinesses to get those kids out there and meeting one-on-one with farmers, you can do a virtual one. So the information about that is here. They also have a number of lesson plans that are available, and for family consumer sciences, they have ready to use lessons that were just released. So an update of maybe what you have in your resources right now. They also have classroom activities for the different grade levels, things that are fun to do. And then they also have family and consumer science mini grants, again, for getting product that you can use in your classroom. So, and they tie into a number of their online lessons. So I really encourage you to take advantage of that. And also under the consumers tab, and this is true with almost all of our commodity groups in the state, especially if they're producing edible products such as beef and pork and so forth. They almost always will have a nutrition part, cooking tips, recipes, and so forth. And so I encourage you to take a look at that. Same thing for when we look at crops in the state and we look at the Wisconsin Cranberry growers website. Again, you can learn the background about cranberries, recipes, and how they fit in, the health aspect of cranberry sustainability. If we go back to the cranberry one, you'll see that's where their education tab is. And so they have lesson plans that are tied to educational standards. They have tours, they do scholarships. for students that may be going into some type of cranberry related or crop related field. They have the Weatherby Library and also some additional resources that you can utilize. So I really encourage you to take a look at that. They also have some great links where you can do marsh tours and the Cranberry Discovery Center, the Weatherby Library, and then a number of virtual events and so forth. So I encourage you to take advantage of that. When we look at a more national level, the USDA has what we call the MyPlate or Choose MyPlate. So when we take a look at that, this is where we're tying food and nutrition to our average consumers. So it'll go through the different food groups and so on, and then they have a number of different resources and tools. So students can be setting up their own sites and so forth. You can go through print materials. If we look at those, they may be classroom ones, they may be dietary guidelines. They have some, I believe, in Spanish as well. They have coloring sheets for our younger groups. If you're trying to tie in food planning and during COVID and so forth, how you can do that and work with your students on that, and just lots of great things on this website. So I encourage you to take a look at that. Under the professionals part is also where you can find some of the different toolkits that they have. They have for registered dietitians, but they also have a communicators and educator ones. So you can use the apps that they have, and then a number of resources for you as teachers and graphics you can use, and things that you can do, utilizing the infographics and other information that they have. So I encourage you to check them out as well. Also with the USDA, we have their website that has if you go to the food and nutrition part, all kinds of dietary health and child nutrition. But I want to bring you to this part, which is the food waste facts. They figure between 30 to 40% of our food supply in the United States is wasted. And that is a shame that we are raising up and growing food and producing food that doesn't make it to the end user, and that we have people who are also food challenged. So I think any family and consumer science program would do justice to spending some time helping the students learn about how we can reduce food waste, whether it's starting on the farm through the transportation and processing, and then when it gets to the grocery store, to the restaurant, to their school lunch, helping students to learn about that and what they can do. We also have some great resources with the American Farm Bureau on food waste. They have a wonderful ag mag for 3rd through 5th grade students that's really good. But I really feel that's an important part that we need to be addressing, because we certainly know how to grow food and produce it and process it, but making sure that it all gets used seems to be a huge challenge in our country. Finally, if we go to YouTube, we can take a look at some different playlists. One of the ones that we've really enjoyed it's called How Does It Grow? It's from True Food TV. And they really do a nice job. Our National Ag in the Classroom program kind of discovered this, and they're all about 10-minute segments and just all kinds of fun things about how does that grow and where does it come from. But again, as we look at our different our different commodities in our state, the maple syrup producers have a few videos that they've put on, and I'm just trying to look at my list here. We have the Wisconsin potato growers as well, who have, whether it's recipes or production ones, and getting to know farmers and tailgating and so forth. Just lots of great opportunities. So lots of resources for our family and consumer science teachers and their students and our volunteers who may be working with their classrooms. So we encourage you to take a look at that and to like our Facebook page. We share a lot of resources. We also have a few events coming up with the Wisconsin Farm to School program. We have a chili day where we're looking at locally sourced products, and that will be in February. So I encourage you to take a look at the DACCAP's Farm to School program and their chili lunch day, and take advantage of that as well. So thanks for tuning in today. We look forward to seeing you again soon.